Alright, welcome back everybody, and this is where we start a whole new playlist and everything on tutorials. Now, the reason why I haven't done a 0.22 video yet is because I allowed some time to see some forums and Reddit links and stuff like that come up with questions, and mostly people trying to figure out how to do things with the early pieces and parts. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to start a new game for you all, just straight up new game, so we're all on ground zero, the same way you guys started off. So we'll do YouTube 0.22 career mode. Let's pick a flag. There's no exploding Jebediahs, so let's just go with blorbs. That's a fun word, blorbs. Okay. Now I did a super beginner's tutorial to how to KSP and everything like that in the last series of tutorials. Everything is the same, except now we have this. And this is a simple tech tree you could remember from games like Age of Empires and Civilization, that sort of thing. So we start off with these parts, bam. The Mark 16 parachute, that's a bug, doesn't have an icon. Wah. The next thing is we need 5 science to unlock some fuel tanks here, the mystery goo, and the stack decoupler. Now, you've probably all seen videos of people that can, with the initial parts, get to min-miss land, get a surface sample, then go into a flyby of the mun, and then land back at Kerbal. I can do the same thing. It's really just making a stack of solid rocket boosters from hell and doing it that way. But this is just a. I'm just going to be showing you guys how science works and everything like that. I'm not going to do the magical 500 plus science in my first mission thing. I'm going to get a good amount this first time, but it's not going to be no crazy amount. So, of course, we need this. It's the only command piece we possibly could get. And of course, that's going to be piloted by Jebediah. He is our best pilot. And to transmit science, we need the communicatron. And I put 2 on there just so it's balanced. Some people put it like that. Just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and do this so they're pointing straight up. There we go. Now they look pretty. Now, a key thing to science and everything now is to get this capsule back to Kerbin safely. Land it on the surface safely. So, always, always put a parachute on it. Alright? Now you look in aerodynamic, and there's nothing. Structure, we have girder segments. Those are pretty much useless to us right now. I see no purpose to them other than maybe some rudimentary landing legs, maybe. There's nothing in control, so all of our torque comes from this capsule and all of our electricity. Now you come in here and see that all we have are some fuel tanks. So what I'm going to do is just throw in the fuel tanks we need. And this is all just from a little tooling around on how much I know I can get out of this. Let's put this down here. I don't know why that shows up as a stage now. I really don't. I haven't figured out what that's for. Actually, we can go a little bit bigger. There. Well, like I said, I'm not trying to do the super awesome thing. I'm just gonna show you guys that it is possible to get into space. Now you're probably wondering, well, how the hell are you gonna stage? Well, the fire from this engine will blow up that engine. It's as simple as that. And we'll go down a couple here. We're just going to go into orbit. That's our goal. Okay, do the same on that one. There. Now, we need some stages here. Since we didn't put any decouplers or anything on this, it thinks it's all the same stage. Go figure. Not a problem. Our first stage is going to be these 4. and the center one. So I just put my mouse over to see which one it highlights over here, plop it down there. Second stage is going to be these four, and that engine. Just use the highlight trick. And then the next stage is going to be that engine. I think I made too many stages. Oh well, we can always get rid of them. Okay, and then our liquid fuel for the last bit. Liquid fuel is our most efficient and gives us the most control. That's why we have it on here in the first place. Now we need some added torque, because you look at this rocket and you're like, wow, how are you going to turn that without any SAS or gimbling rockets? Well, with this thing, if it behaves. Okay, calm down with the, there we go. Now we're just going to have to put those on one at a time. Why won't it attach to that rocket? I got an idea. You're going to go like this, attach that on there, then go to ×4 and slap them on. Ideas are the best way to do this. Okay, we got that, staging's all good. Now these four I want empty, so because let's face it, we're not going to get those back. They're going to be quote unquote decoupled. Okay, so we got our first rocket. This is generally a great design. For your very first rocket, you can go some pretty good distance with this thing. We have the torque control, an extra battery there, we got that. So I'm going to do this called the first mission awesome rocket. We are no longer using stupid rockets, we have awesome rockets. They are awesome because we can't just throw on the best of everything and do the best we possibly ever could. And I can't speak in good sentences today. Okay, and if you look, that's literally every part except for the girders that we could possibly use. Like, there's nothing else we can do with this thing. So, come out here, and then we're going to cover the differences in science parts and stuff like that for you all. As you can see, the rocket stays stable on the runway. Beautiful. So, you have multiple ways. Well, your first launch, you have really two ways to get science. You have an EVA report. Just right click job, click EVA report. This is the most precarious situation. Keep the data. Okay, and you can store it or you can get back in and it'll automatically store it. For every pod, I believe you can store 4 or 5 EVA reports. Transmitting them back will only get you 50% their science value, so EVA reports keep. Now, here's the other one we can do right now. See, it says review stored data 1. Crew report. These you can only do 1 before you have to transmit 1. So you do a crew report, assessment of the situation, that's like the default one. You can transmit that out at 100% scientific value. It's only 1.5, so it's not much. It's a meh. Starting transmission, uploading data, 1.5 science added. But look at how much power they use. I use 30 electric charge on a vehicle that the only way we can get electric charge is with our liquid engine. So we got as much science as we can minus the surface sample of the launch pad. Don't really care. We got all the science we can from here, so now we can launch. Actually, let me check this real quick. The EVA report was 5.6 science. That's enough for us to unlock the first tree if we just recover the vehicle from here. Quick way to recover is just to mouse up here. Ban recover vessel. And you can only do that when you're landed on Kerbin. So I throttled it up just because that's what I do. And we go. It's going to be a little wobbly. It's to be expected though. And now what I'm doing is I'm watching these numbers here. It looks like we're going to overheat some of those SRBs, and boom, there they go. Which means now we're slowing down. And before we go all the way down to nothing, I'm going to blast off that bottom one. And it's simply that. We are just destroying our spent stages. Nothing fancy about it. I'm already starting my gravity turn because we are going very fast. A lot of people do the 3 SRBs or 2 on the side. I like to do the 4. It just works out a little bit better that way. I have no throttle control, so I can't save fuel by paying attention to the altitude and speed. And I just screwed that up. You're supposed to bust off the one below it before you do that. So we're going to have to skip one and go like that. But we should still make it to orbit just fine. I have a lot of faith in my rocket. Definitely doing a gravity turn now. Now, like I said, we have to start frying this thing before it runs out of fuel. If you wait for it to run out of fuel and the overheat bar goes away, it's not coming back. Well, not in any timely sort of manner. So right about now, I'm going to start blasting it. And we missed it. Yep, we missed it. Okay, let's redo the flight here. Revert to launch. Really, the biggest thing I wanted to show you guys was the crew report getting into orbit. It's tricky. Even for me, it's tricky, and you all see me do some crazy things. But crew report, transmit for 100% science. Simple as that. EVA report. EVA report, and you keep that data. You keep it, keep it, keep it. Because you want to recover your vehicle with all your EVA reports and surface samples if you get any. Crew reports, just one per mission, essentially. You can get more if you, what's the word I'm looking for? You can get more crew reports if you transmit each one. Don't worry, you still get 100% of everything, and everybody's okay with it. Let's get rid of that. Now I had to pay attention to my fuel. Do not let me forget about my fuel usage, because I have to burn these off before they run out of fuel. I have gotten pretty good at eyeballing when to burn and stuff like that, but it's not the easiest thing on the planet sometimes. Because we're all used to having decouplers and everything, and happy, easy ways of doing things. Now, as you can see, we're still losing speed, but we're at that point where we just have enough TWR to do this thing. And yeah, those side ones went flying off. Oh well. You're gonna lose. Your first rocket's gonna be so inefficiently designed, it's just stupid. Burn that off. There it goes. That one actually destaged perfectly. I'm pretty sure we got ourselves a nice orbit here. Now, I don't even want to go out into the orbit map because I can't watch fuel. So I have to do everything just from this and my current altitude and just knowing what's good and what isn't good. Okay, blast it, and perfect. Now from here we should be good. Let's look at our height here. We're up there nice and high. I'm going to point up a little bit more just to get some more height. And we're going to sneak in an extra EVA report for high atmosphere. This is actually a pretty difficult one to get. We're still in atmosphere, but it's considered high atmosphere. EVA report, keep data, board. Boom. We get to keep it. Now we go and do our orbit like we always have. Set ourselves a little bit below prograde here, and then time warp up there. The rest of this you guys have seen a million friggin' times. This is literally just us getting into orbit. It's not easy. You have to make a rocket that looks god-awful and everything. Boo-hoo, whatever. It's not going to be efficient, and you're not going to have the power that some of you are used to having. Some of you are used to having these super crazy powerful rockets with orange tanks and everything like that. Well, now you gotta learn how to do it in the most efficient way with very inefficient parts. It's just the name of the game. So when we come here, look at our resources, and you will see we actually have fuel left over. With that fuel, I could get into a high Kerbal orbit, but I'm not worried about it. Electric charge says that I can do this. I'm gonna do a crew report. Seems we're very much in space right now. The sky seems to be mostly below us. Sweet. Transmit for 100%. Starting transmission. Transmission, 5 science added. That 5 science is exactly what we need to get ourselves the next leg in the tree. Now, like I said, EVA reports, we can have as many of those as we want. We really can. Just locking the ship here so it stops rotating. We can carry, well, not as many, but we can carry a lot. And this one's worth 8. So we keep the data, go back in. Beautiful. Now, what we want to do, so we got all the science we could up here. We got 2 crew reports on the ground, in the air, transmitted them. Looking at resources, we really don't have enough charge to do another one. We can generate electricity with a liquid fuel engine, and we have a lot of fuel, but that's not really the best way to do things, and besides, we already got the crew report from where we are. So let's try to find a landing spot to get a surface sample, because if some of you know, in the Kerbal folklore, a lot of Kerbal has actually been unexplored except for the Kerbal Space Center. So these deserts look like something we could pull some data from with a surface sample. So I'm going to come out to about here, and we're going to burn retrograde. And I burned too much retrograde because I was trying to do something else at the same time. Go figure, right? So we're going to pull it off a little bit, and that should land us in the desert. Now, let's see if we can't do another crew report and transmit it. Transmitting. Not enough electric charge, so let's give it some. There we go. That's the last crew report we're going to be able to do that way. So now let me fix my orbit so we are dropping down where we were, because I just spent pretty much enough fuel. Uh-oh. I spent really enough fuel to, what's the word I'm looking for? Get back into an orbit. We were back into a stable orbit just for me using fuel to, get our desert landing, and to transmit that crew report. So, like I said, you really don't want to do that too much. You want to try and keep that kind of thing to a minimum. And there we go. That should land us in the desert and everything like that. Now you're wondering, well, how the hell do you get rid of the fuel? You don't. We have to keep that. Unfortunately, we have to keep every drop of fuel we have, but that allows us to do a slightly softer landing. Fuel assisted landing, get it on its side so Jeb can grab a surface sample and get back in. You don't have to get Jeb back in, you can actually go back to the tracking station and recover Jeb that way, and you'll still get the science. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, we're actually going to test that here right now. But this is just me showing you guys that you can get into orbit with the beginner parts. Plenty of fuel left over in my rocket. I could have done it with a way less amount of SRBs. And keep in mind, crew reports, transmit them all day long if you have the electric charge. Just keep on transmitting those crew reports. Stored data is EVA reports and surface samples. Carry those back home. Don't transmit those. Transmitting those, you will only get 40 or 50%. When you get the goo canister, same thing. Save as much of it as you can. which means just add more goo canisters, that sort of thing. Right, here we go, we're coming in. Looks like we're actually going to get some mountain data. That's cool. So looking at my altitude, does he have an altimeter in here? I don't see one. Okay. So we deploy that guy. And I'm actually going to go like this, just to help slow her down. And then bring it up to ×4 again. Now I'm really going to throttle up here. Okay. That should be pretty good for our landing. Just waiting for that to deploy like that. There we go. Now, we want to be below 10 meters a second when we land. I can't find a shadow at all. So, oh, there it is. Alright. So we should land pretty nicely, just like this. The parachute's going to keep us straight up and down. Okay, and let's hope nothing breaks. Woo! Okay. I accidentally left the engine on there. Whoopsies. Oh well. Just roll this like that. And stop. EVA. Now he's actually going to let go. Okay. Now he's going to take an EVA report. I don't think a space suit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? Keep the data, that's only worth 2.4. Then surface sample. This is worth 9. That's pretty good. Lots of sands and rock here. You're thankful that blah 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 blah. See, if you transmit that, it's only worth 50. So keep that. Now let's see if we can get him back in. No, doesn't look like we're gonna get him back in the pod here. Oh, wait. No, he's gonna be a dum-dum. Oh, let me try again. There we go. Bam. Stored as data, stored as EVA report. If you look here, we have 5 data stored. So I guess you can store quite a bit inside your thingamabob here. So let's go ahead and click recover vessel. And this will give us all the signs that we did not transmit. Stuff we transmitted was the stuff we only got 100% of. That works for me. And see, I didn't do the crazy min-miss and moon landing stuff on our very first rocket, but this is what you guys should be more than capable of. Similar rocket design, come up with your own if you have to, that sort of thing. Just really fool around with it, and remember to do your orbital, you getting into orbit, make sure you do it right. You can't do the whole burn straight up forever, then just turn sideways and burn. I see you guys do that all the time. It works with really a lot of extra fuel and boosters and all that, but we don't have that anymore. So be smart, go up to 10,000, then start turning at 90, and slowly curve it over like that. As soon as you get 70,000, 75,000 kilometers or meters, cut engines, let yourself float up to the 75,000, and then blast engines and make it circularized. That's the best and easiest way, and you'll find it's a lot easier than any other possible way. But you can see here we got EVA report, EVA report, EVA report, surface sample, which gave us 9, EVA report, and recovery of a vessel returned from Kerbin's orbit gave us 10. Beautiful. Got plenty of value there. Done. And now if we come here, you can unlock this with ease. 43 left over. That will get you that one. It will get you that one. And you're 10 short of that one. But as you can see, you've just knocked out 3 things on the tech tree. And now if we come back here, we have many more parts making life so much easier. In propulsion, we got landing engines, we got more fuel tanks for more stability. Still only got that engine, oh well. Structure, we got decouplers. Holy crap. Goodbye SRBs from hell, just dump that whole thing right there. Gone. Aerodynamics, we got winglets that for stability, nose cone, and from looking at it, seeing it says drag 0.1, I think it may have been fixed. I think the value on nose cones is now, yeah, it looks like it has been fixed. So these actually will help a little bit. I don't know if their total mass is going to throw it off like it did in the past. I'll have to do some testing in the future for you guys. And now in utility, instead of just that parachute, we have radials and we have landing struts. These are moon landing. Hello, moon landing. Science, now we have the mystery goo. Very same thing compared to crew reports. Well, with mystery goo, is if you transmit the data, you lose data. So what I like to do is have 3 or 4 goo canisters and take 3 or 4 different observations of the goo. That way I can bring all 4 back. And then subassemblies, you just take this and you drop it here and it'll save it as a subassembly, and then you can bring it back out whenever. And you can do that in both this building and the spaceplane hangar, and they'll both show up in this list. It's a beautiful thing. Alright guys, so what we covered was, I showed you guys a rocket that can get into orbit real nice and easy. Gave a little explanation on the science, ways to save yourself some hassle of losing science, how to transmit it back, everything like that. There are a lot more things to go into the science and everything, and that's for a future episode. There's things like biomes and altitudes and stuff like that. Just think of it, you got desert, forest, mountain, polar caps, ocean, and coastline. There's your biomes. Each one of those will require a separate surface sample, a separate crew report, and I believe goo observation is different for each one too. So do all 3 there. Once you get the thermometer, definitely do that in all 3 of those, or all 6 or 7 of those places, and you'll be good. Next episode, I'm going to go a little bit further into the exacts of our science and everything, and I'm not going to progress through the tech tree any more than what we just have. So don't worry, when we come back, we'll continue on with our tech tree and trying to get as much science as we can out of what we have. Alright? Until next time, guys, you guys have been great, and you can always catch me in the KSP chat on Steam. Alright, guys.